Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 12 of the F1 Agenda. I'm your host, Dan, and today I'm joined by Simon,
Hello.
Jeebus,
Hello.
and Lambrex.
What's up?
Today we'll be reviewing the 2018 French Grand Prix, and as we came to this weekend, Merc brought their not just 2.0 upgraded engine, the 2.1. It apparently has more power and more reliability than the proposed Canada upgrade, and it seemed to work for them.
Don't know. I don't think that's the main reason they were fastest this weekend. Because Ferrari was still faster than them in a straight line. I think it's not necessarily what was in the package, but the fact that there was a package, I think, was just a big momentum boost for the whole team more than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you didn't know, Merc were able to lock out the front row. It's only the second time they've done that this season. And one of the biggest talking points we got from qualifying was Leclerc got the Sauber into Q3.
Yeah,
What
I mean,
a
he's
performance.
just,
He is absolutely smashing this season.
I mean, he is going to be, one of the next big stars with Verstappen and Sainz and whatever.
Yeah.
He's signed his name in that echelon.
It's just I believe I read just earlier today from when we were recording that he is the first one, I believe the first Sauber driver since Hulkenberg to have scored this many top tens, like back in 2013.
Wow.
It's an impressive stat he has for Sauber, and considering that car shouldn't be where he puts it. Really, when you look at it, it's just
No.
It's like Alonso in the McLaren, really.
Well, at the start of the weekend,
Well,
they
is it
weren't
though?
anywhere.
Well,
Is,
at least
is it Alonso and McLaren?
Well, at least the sound was actually reliable.
And fast.
Exactly. Well, and it's got a better driver in it. Discuss.
Oh boy.
Oh, he started it.
Controversy already in the episode.
Yeah. I know he had not only did he get the car into Q2, Leclerc managed to get that Sauber into Q3.
Yeah, because
And he
Ericsson,
didn't even
I think,
qualify last, though that was due to outside factors. But he qualified 8th.
yeah,
He qualified last of those who had a legitimate lap.
Yeah.
Because
also
Grosjean-
Ericsson got into Q2 as well.
Yeah. Eric.
So the Stout will eat that the first time this season.
I'll still have a better car for sure now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Made a massive step forward that weekend.
It's really showing. At least it looks like what Mercedes are claiming, that Ferrari's first engine is as strong, if maybe not a bit stronger than Mercedes is now.
I mean, Sauber were just a bit like Williams were in 2014, just
Sure.
not as good. That's what it
Yeah.
reminds me of.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they haven't got great aero, but they've got a good engine.
True. And
True.
of course, Leclerc's amazing qualifying started the rumour mill once again, with Raikkonen only 6th, 2 places ahead of the Sauber.
It kind of sparked it.
Yes.
Because there were rumours coming into the weekend by Sky Italia that Leclerc was going to go to Ferrari. Basically, Ferrari had made up their mind.
Yeah.
Or, like, they've given Kimi, like, 3 races or something to basically change their mind. And they're going to go for youth, which is something that they
It's
never
a rare
do.
thing for Ferrari. They don't normally take the risky young option.
No, and obviously, Leclerc qualifying just behind his, his rival, if you will, Kimi Raikkonen.
Yeah.
It's a bit, it's kind of just saying to Marchioni, look at me.
I think it's really with Ferrari already now debating of getting Leclerc into, like, Ferrari maybe saying the reason Leclerc as young as he is it shows how much faith Ferrari has in Leclerc.
And
And-
Vettel.
And Vettel, yeah, and like it shows how much faith they have in Leclerc as a young driver as well.
Yeah,
Mm.
and I think it's also because Kimi just kind of is fed up. I think he wants to retire.
Yeah.
But it's a bit like, it would... Because he obviously loves the sport and everything. He loves driving the car. But, it's kind of like his pure racer doesn't want to go, but he does.
He has
Way.
to go, really.
Yeah, I think he's kind of realised that his time is up.
Yeah.
That he's had his day, and now he's kind of just like being treated as a second driver.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad because you look at the races from him in like 2005 and
Yeah.
when he was at McLaren, and it's just it really.
It doesn't help that this season he hasn't really hooked up a Q3 lap properly yet.
No, it's bottled, but basically every
So many times where we could have seen Kimi arguably take pole, but every time he's had issues on his Q3 lap.
Yeah.
This time around, he actually hindered someone else, but
Kimi.
Angry
well,
Jeebus.
the thing is, even though Kim wasn't penalized, he was actually found. He was the stewards did admit that he thwarted Magnussen's lap.
Yeah, but because it's Magnussen, they're like, oh no, we're not going to penalise Kimi. Well, that would cause controversy, blah 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 blah. Dumb flattery. Aiding. Shit.
Anyway, before we get into Jeebus actually exploding over Magnussen, the other big story
Exploding
from
of a Magnussen.
yes,
Is Magnussen a verb now?
apparently so. We've just made it into one live. The other major story from qualifying was McLaren out in Q1 with both cars.
The shit.
They
And
are.
once again, the stories of we have the best chassis. Once we get the Renault engine, we'll be up there with Red Bull.
They've just got
And
such
they're
shit.
out in
track.
Q1.
The thing is, I think I don't know why I saw, but like I saw it. I think it's another tweet again about that. The only reason why Honda, when they had Honda, were so bad was because, yeah, the engine wasn't the best, but McLaren's drag was ridiculous. That car is
Which has
so
been proved once
draggy.
again this year.
Yeah, that seems to be like what's coming out now.
Yeah,
because
like suddenly everyone's realising, wait, it wasn't all down to Honda.
and I think
McLaren
McLaren
really just have a bad car in terms of drag.
McLaren must have fooled themselves as well, because they must have thought, oh, this engine is just so bad, and the dyno's just continuously been lying. There's no point us like trying to work on our drag, because we can just blame the engine. It's just the engine's issue. Once we get a Renault, it'll be fine. And you know that.
And then they suddenly get a Renault, and
Well, I mean, it's their own fault. It's their own fault being lazy, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
look at the work Toro Rosso have done with the Honda.
McLaren got lazy and thought that even with the laziness, they could be the best.
And now this has just come out that Eric Bully is now saying that McLaren need to be a customer. They need to be a works engine again. Needs to be a works team again. Well, you've only had.
What were you for the last 3 years? What were you for the last 3 years? A
They've had
works team.
They've had 8 races now with a customer engine, and now they're getting into the old Red Bull habit of blaming the engine.
Yeah.
It's just.
McLaren just need to, I don't know, look in a mirror and see where it's gone wrong. I think they finally come round to admitting that they have an issue with the aero. Like the fact that the car is too draggy. I think they finally admitted that.
Yeah, because they sacked Tim Goss.
Yeah.
They need to sack a lot more people if they want to get winning again.
Well, it doesn't help that team morale is apparently quite low.
Well,
because all they're getting paid basically for extra work is a Fredo.
No, okay, that was a joke. Can we not talk about Fredo Gate? It's not a real thing. Okay, it's like a little incentive. Like, it's like, oh, you did a good work, now here's a Fredo. It's not like they're not getting paid, or they're not getting bonuses, and so they're just getting a little chocolate frog, which is too overpriced.
But overpriced chocolate is almost a crime against humanity.
No, Fredos are just ridiculously expensive. I even have them in Denmark. They're 10p and they're 25p. It's stupid.
Right, before we get into a discussion about chocolate bar prices and going back to the French Grand Prix, it seemed like Alonso's kind of, this is like including the entire weekend here, that Alonso may have given up
I want him out.
maybe.
I want him out of the sport.
Well,
Well, I see him
He's-
leaving at the end of the year. I don't think he's got the motivation anymore to continue.
He's ruining it.
I was like more and more like he's just he's not now he's not only teasing like going to IndyCar, he's also teasing to go into World Rallycross.
Well, it's
Well-
just he's doing all this. It's just diminishing F1.
Yeah.
It's not saying. I mean, yes, you can be a complete driver, but it's like he's just slagging off F1 constantly just because he's not winning.
It's like he's doing, I'd rather do all these other things than F1.
Exactly, and it's like he's obviously not going to leave halfway through the season because the only way he's going to be able to do IndyCar or is going to be able to do WEC is if he stays with McLaren because McLaren are going to go into both of them next year.
Yeah.
And it's annoying because you always see these things in the media. You hear him on the radio. And this has been, 4 years now of him doing this, even more. Because I think he started doing it a bit in 2013 as well. I don't know, I wasn't watching it, but I assume so. And...
Well, not really 13, 14, was because
No.
by that
For-
point he was still in Ferrari and still
yeah,
somewhat in the championship fight.
14 more so.
Yeah, 13. Yeah, 13.
Yeah.
14.
Sorry. But it's like, it's not going to help anyone. It's just him constantly moaning and moaning that he's in a slow car, which is just going to bring the team morale down, which is going to hurt Stoffel Van Dorn, because, Stoffel can't beat Alonso, and when Alonso's complaining this much, he's obviously not going to be giving it 110%. Then Van Dorn's like, oh, I'm so shit, I can't even beat an 80% Alonso.
Yeah.
It's just, he's I wouldn't be surprised if like 10% of McLaren's woes are down to Alonso purely.
Oh, fully.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'd say at least 10%.
It's just
Probably
annoying.
more.
And it's like people, because he's got all these fans now as well. Because they're just like all jumping on the bandwagon. You've got Crofty calling Le Mans Lemonzo, and
Which I frankly find insulting, but okay.
it's just.
I mean,
stupid.
Alonso, I'm sorry, is vastly overrated.
Yeah.
He can turn a bad car into an okay car, but like he got comprehensively beaten by Hamilton in 2007.
And then I can remember the other week, I think he said that he was one of the best ever.
No, not even in the top 10.
Didn't he say he rated himself 9.5?
Yeah, he said
He's
he's not.
not even in the top 10 best drivers.
No.
I think he said he's not the best at every single thing. Like there are people who are better than him in one particular area, but he's like consistently 9.5 in every single thing.
Which is just not true.
It's just not true.
So I mean, what
because-
happened to Paul Ricard then?
Yeah. Or
Like
like,
he spun off his own back, being overtaken by Vettel.
And then he blamed Vettel.
I
Yeah,
know.
I-
Vettel
he
overtook
rated
him
Vettel
and
just
didn't
like-
touch him.
yeah, his radio message was like, I hope Vettel got damage from that. Just like, he didn't even touch you.
It-
Or because you were span out, and now suddenly it's
I,
Vettel's
honestly,
fault.
Alonso is deluded.
I also point out, best at everything. Team morale, you calling them out saying, oh, we've got nothing, there's no pace in the car, what's the
Well,
point?
exactly. I mean, look, if you
That's
listen
not
to
great.
if you listen to someone like Lewis Hamilton, he's always after every race, every session. Thanks to the guys, they do an
Yeah.
amazing job all the time. Even when it's going wrong, he's there saying,
Well,
they did a
well,
good
so-
job.
so-
They're
so
working
Vettel-
really hard. So does Vettel. So do most drivers. To be honest with you.
Most
And-
drivers, yeah. Like it's just Alonso has this. He's become arrogant in a way, thinking that he's just the best, so he can complain about everything.
just because he won Le Mans in a one-car race.
And what makes it more annoying is the fact that Alonso is bigger than the team, and McLaren have made him bigger than McLaren.
Oh yeah, fully.
Yeah.
Like McLaren are the third highest third most prestigious like brand in F1
Something like
right
that.
now.
Yeah.
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 After probably Ferrari and Mercedes.
Yeah, or maybe Williams as well, around there.
No, they're
I'd
dead.
say McLaren more than Williams.
Yeah, Williams.
Well,
is
yeah.
dead.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it just annoys me so much. And then people complain that like Lance Stroll, who's complaining, in what is the worst car on the grid by an absolute mile, and Williams don't have the funding to improve it, and they don't have the people to improve it. So obviously, someone who's 18 and in his second year of Formula One with no experience and probably shouldn't be in the seat, he should have had more junior. That's a different debate for a different day. He's complaining and people are going, oh, look at him, he's a spoiled brat, oh, get him out the seat, put Kubica in, because he would have done so much better. And then Alonso's complaining week in, week out, pretty much every session. Even when he does a good job, he's not congratulating the team, he's congratulating himself. It's... it annoys me.
I think Alonso's just kind of a bit like Kimi, just had his time now.
If he goes... when he goes...
too high of himself.
I don't hate him as a driver, I don't hate him as a person, I just don't want him in F1 anymore. When he goes to IndyCar, I'll gladly support him.
Yeah.
In Le Mans, I gladly supported him, but it's just... he's so done with it. And then he's like, he was saying the other week as well, his future doesn't depend on whether the car's good, it depends on what F1, what Liberty Media are doing with the sport.
It's just not true.
So now he's jumping on the bandwagon.
So he was happy to race in WEC, which is one of the worst run championships that the FIA do.
Oh yeah, well, to be fair, also because the FIA just the hand, so it's actually the ACO that controls, but yeah, no, the ACO is running a shit show of it, but.
Right.
But and then he had the cheek after Le Mans to say it was one of the best victories ever.
Oh no, it's not even close. Like that is like how many Le Mans have there been? Like
86 now.
Okay, that was the 86th best win in Le Mans.
It was such an obvious win. There were no competition. There were 2 Toyota cars.
Like he won a 1-car race. It's as simple as that.
There's 2 Toyota cars. One of and his teammate's car got penalty after penalty after penalty towards the end. The second car was 2 laps down by the end. That's 6 minutes.
Yeah. It's just annoying, to be honest.
Two podcasts, 2 Alonso rants.
Let's hope we don't have to do the hat trick next week.
You watch, he's gonna do something stupid next week, and we're gonna have another one.
Yeah.
It's gonna
ending our Alonso rant before we get too out of control. I think we'll move on to the race, and it was quite a chaotic first lap.
Yeah.
Grosjean up to his usual antics.
Yeah, it wasn't a great first lap for France.
Yeah,
all 3 of them ended up colliding with each other in some way.
He swerved into Ocon on the straight, and then because that basically destroyed Ocon's car anyway, and then Gasly lost it going into the first corner, and went into Ocon.
And then Grosjean later in the race has the audacity to say, "What did I do wrong? It's a joke."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just he had the audacity to actually say that on radio.
I mean, wow. It's really sad because he was looking good all weekend, and then from Q3, it just completely...
Haas seemed to be back into their 4th fastest car that they had like in Spain or...
Renault are better than them now.
Yeah, Renault were better.
Yeah, well, they're definitely up there fighting with Renault, and it showed this weekend.
Renault has fully cemented themselves in that 4th fastest car.
Yeah. Well, to be expected, really.
Magnussen did an amazing job, and he's still carrying the team, which is great to see.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're only 1 point behind Force India, and all those points come from Magnussen.
Yeah.
Because Grosjean once again basically threw away another point finish.
That should have been at least a 7-8. Like with an own race, that should have been a 7th and 8th for Haas. It only came a 6th and 11th.
It could have even been a 6-7.
Yeah.
Well, I think Renault were the 4th quickest. Maybe it was just Sainz, but Sainz did an amazing.
Sainz had an amazing weekend.
And if it wasn't for the engine cutout, basically at the end of the,
I think it was an MGUH failure.
MGUK failure. MGUH in retirement, but MGUK only.
Which is, I think, the same issue Ricardo had in Monaco.
Exactly. The virtual safety car Stein said after the race that the virtual safety car helped them get to the finish line.
Yeah.
Because that eased the stress on the engine, and then it could basically just roll it over the line in an eighth.
Yeah. But this another Grosjean, let's say poor weekend after his Q3 crash and then another incident in the race it's another, like, he's on even thinner ice now, I have to say.
Yeah.
Like he's closer and closer to losing. I think he's losing his seat.
This year was crunch time for both Magnussen and Grosjean, and Magnussen has really turned it up for once.
Yeah.
Like, I think I would say Magnus is driving his best season in F1 right now.
Because Haas have got like the 5th best car, and Magnussen is proving that on a good lot of occasions now, in quite a few races, while Grosjean's just done nothing. And they need both drivers to be scoring. Let's just imagine where Haas would be if Grosjean had the points that Magnussen did.
Oh yeah.
Or anywhere near it. They'd be fighting up there with McLaren and Renault over 4th in the constructors.
And that's what it should be, really. Like, if you look at it.
But instead, they're sat fighting Force India and Toro Rosso.
Yeah.
Because Grosjean can't score points.
And a bit of misfortune in Australia.
Yeah.
It's just... It has been unfortunate, and I think I mentioned this before, but Steiner said this early in the season that the last year's car was suited to Grosjean, which is why Grosjean was so good last year. But as soon as Grosjean doesn't have a car that suits him, he starts to falter. Versus Magnussen, who can drive around these small car problems. He has that bit better adaptability to the car, and actually can drive the car even though it isn't completely to his liking.
Because he's a better driver.
Well,
Could be this season, yeah.
Well, this season at least, yeah. Like you can see the car. The car. Magnussen has fewer problems with the car, and it suits more to his driving style, which also helps him because for once he actually has a car that suits him, and his driving style. And I think that this second year has really helped him get into F1 really and get himself planted in it.
But there wasn't just the French drivers having incidents on that one. We also had quite a major incident at the front between Bottas and Vettel,
which has been completely blown out of proportion, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was a simple lock-up, which is unfortunate when you've got, cold tyres.
He basically had no grip because he was right up behind Hamilton.
He was
so he just lost front grip. So
he was boxed in. He made a simple mistake, and people are saying he should have been disqualified.
I mean, Vettel himself admitted he was at fault. It's not like he's saying, "Oh, it wasn't my fault." He's admitted that he was at fault.
He completely takes the fault for that one, but he also said that because of the fact that both Bottas was close, both Hamilton and Bottas was close, he felt like he lost all grip in the car, which didn't help going to turn 1.
He was getting like slipstream from Hamilton ahead. Then he was getting like side draft from Bottas.
Yeah.
Got like nothing.
Well, okay, 2 things: position your car better. And
he had nowhere to go. He had nowhere to go.
Where could he go?
Well, okay, sure, but he should have moved earlier.
And he did break early.
There was nowhere else for him to go. Bottas couldn't have moved because of Red Bull.
Bottas broke late. There was little Vettel could do. He
even joked he wished he got a worse car.
To be fair, I'm looking at the picture now. Bottas doesn't leave Vettel much room for mistake.
Oh, come on!
I'm just saying.
So much. Bottas went so deep. You cannot apportion any blame to Bottas whatsoever.
I know. I'm just reading from the standstill. Although, like when I watch the live footage as well, you can see how wide he goes as well, to try and avoid it.
Bottas left a bus for Vettel.
It was a simple mistake, and a 5-second penalty was enough, in my opinion.
No, it wasn't. Ruined Bottas's race. It should have been a 10-second penalty.
I'll say this.
How can you ruin one of your title challenges races Yeah.
Because it
And
wasn't
finish in
malicious.
front of him.
It wasn't malicious. It was a.
I don't care if it
simple
wasn't
mistake.
malicious. That's
It
not,
wasn't
that's,
like people.
for me, that's not the point. It doesn't matter whether it's malicious or not because no driver maliciously causes a crash. Like, well, unless your name's like Grosjean or Maldonado. But like,
Right.
I'm not saying that like Vettel's like caused that on purpose.
People like to compare it to Verstappen on Vettel in China, so we're going to do that.
Oh well, Verstappen should have had a harsher penalty there as well. I've said
So
that.
if they set the precedent for a 10-second penalty there, when Vettel basically like opened the door and he just went straight into him. Okay, he didn't lock up. He just simply just ran into him.
Yeah.
Vettel wasn't as bad as that. So
Well then, okay, sure.
So it
but
should
then,
have been a 5-second. You can't just you can't take into consideration the fact that it's Vettel on Bottas.
okay, but then I disagree with the precedent.
Fine, but you've got to realise that they can't exactly go swapping, and they can't exactly just say, "Oh, because it's Vettel, you could have, purposefully took Bottas out." To
They have
but
to view
I'm not
every
saying
incident. Like,
even taking Bottas out would have hindered him because it gave Vettel no challenge.
I'm not saying he did
challenge.
it on purpose. There's a very clear, distinct line here. Vettel didn't do it on purpose. He just made a mistake.
Yeah,
But as far as I'm concerned, like when you ruin somebody's race, you should.
but
fair, he's kind of ruined his own race as well.
and equally, Grosjean ruined Ocon's.
And he should have had a bad punishment too.
Yeah,
I think we should have stricter stewards penalties because I think drivers are getting away with it, and we're seeing
I
driving
think
standards
Well,
slip.
even if
quite a
it
lot.
wasn't, even if it was a 10-second penalty, it would have done nothing for their position.
Well, there's a point Coulthard pointed out saying maybe in serious instances deduct like one championship point because that might get
No.
people to look more seriously.
No.
Because
Well,
if
for
you
me
think
as
that
well,
point-
I just think the 5-second penalty is just a pretty much non-penalty.
well, if you think about it in the context of
Only in a very limited amount of scenarios will it actually cost a driver a position.
it would have for 10 seconds.
But more so like the.
You got like
But I think we should be using drive-throughs far more. From honest with
Well, the
you.
problem was Vettel probably would have beaten Bottas anyway because Bottas had car damage.
Oh well, okay, yeah, sure, but we're not. I think we should like sort of move on from this situation to just wider situations with penalties. I just think bad driving keeps getting. I mean, it's hard to talk because I know it's not Vettel being a bad driver because it isn't, but driving mistakes and bad driving should be punished more. Whoever it is.
Well, there's also a difference between bad driving and mistakes. Where do you set that line, though?
Well,
let's take the Verstappen incidents this year.
yes.
He made several mistakes.
Okay, well,
Sure.
if I was the steward, I would have given Max Verstappen a drive-through penalty for that crash.
I would as well.
Oh yeah, no, that was definitely throw through.
And then, so that's a precedent I set for that, and then I give Vettel a 10-second time penalty
Okay.
for that.
Okay.
That would be my precedent.
I think a lot of people are thinking. A lot of people aren't considering the precedent, which I think is very.
No,
important to
and
take
you're
into
right. You raise a good
consideration.
point because you have to follow the precedent once it's been set.
Yeah. But then you also run into the thing of when does the precedent get reset? Is it at the end of every season?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair,
But then-
about these penalty systems.
So like Verstappen, I mean, I hate to go back to Baku last year, but the point stands. If you give Verstappen a drive-through for what happened in China, then my precedent would be you have no choice but to disqualify Vettel. If you're setting precedents, because I think that is something we have to set precedent for. Because essentially you're giving a very similar penalty for something far worse.
Yeah.
See, I'll tell you what, being a Formula 1 steward is a very difficult job. and I fully respect the people that do that.
Agreed. Very
I
much
think-
agreed. They do a
Well,
very
You
good
can't
job.
please everyone,
They need
or any.
to have,
You can't please anyone, can you? Really?
they
No.
need to have a consistent driver steward.
Hmm.
Yes.
And I think this is a thing that basically everyone agrees on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that driver steward should be someone that everybody respects and thinks is a good racing driver.
Mika Hakkinen would be a good one.
Yes, yeah, I go with that. Or Jean Alesi or someone like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Martin Brundle would be like incredible. To
Oh yeah, Mind Runner would be perfect.
Well-
He always, Thomas, like 9 times out of 10, he calls these incidents like bang on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brundle has a good eye for stuff like this.
But then if he did that, we would lose him off Sky.
And I couldn't deal with Sky without Mind Brundle.
Yeah. It's a risk we're not willing to take.
I know he makes Sky bearable. As much as I hate Channel 4,
Channel 4 coverage is awful.
I know it is really poor.
Steve Jones is just...
Yeah, I don't know, Steve Jones, like, why get someone to present, like, can you imagine, it's essentially like getting, like, Ian Sterling to present, like, World Cup coverage. Like, why get a presenter to a sports program that knows fuck all about sport?
I mean, apparently he's a big Formula 1 fan, he just can't present it. Because I think Channel 4 have a weird, like, they have a weird job to do, because they're going to get a lot of, like, they're getting a lot of media, what's the word? Like, a lot of fans who don't watch every race.
No,
and
yeah.
only really watch it for Hamilton, let's say. So they've kind of got to appease to the British audience, and it's just a bit like he just does it too much. And I think Sky have really improved on it, because they don't really, go on about Hamilton as much now.
Yeah.
I mean, Damon Hill does. Damon Hill needs to calm down. But yeah, it was interesting what Verstappen said about it. Because he said as a joke that Vettel should be asked to change his driving style.
Yes, and it was a joke, despite the convictions of many people on Twitter.
Yeah, I think a lot of people saw that the wrong way.
Well, it's
Although
just
if
because
It was
people,
as if it was going as...
that's what happens when people don't quote things properly.
Although it was
Hmm.
weird in a Sky interview, he seemed really aggressive about it. Like, really passionate about it. It was a bit,
Well, yeah, well, I bet he was, because he was persecuted, quite frankly.
I think it was justified, though.
Nah, not really.
Not to the extent, perhaps, but I think there were questions about
Like,
his
he
driving
had,
style.
he had,
which was
he had a
infuriating.
few bad races at the start of the season.
But it was like he was too, like, aggressive.
Yeah, but he's only 20.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Well-
also when he's also at the age where he has to like try and learn from his mistake as well.
Well, yeah, he's 20, like, he's learning from mistakes, he's finding himself.
And that's what people are saying, that he needs to learn from this and change.
And Formula 1 is one of the hardest places to find yourself and learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't care. He is an experienced driver now, but I don't care how experienced he is. He's only 20. It doesn't matter about how many seasons he's done.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
He's still got to go through that, like, maturity stage, I want to say.
Yeah.
He's a bit of an enigma as a driver. It's really odd, because he's got so much talent, it's almost like he's mature, but then he just does these stupid things.
Well,
Hmm.
I think he genuinely has really impressed me last through a few races.
He's
He's
kept
definitely bounced back from a difficult start of the season.
He has not really been in the position to win it, though.
Well, I mean, well,
He did a very good race at Monaco.
and he did a very good race in France
Yeah, and at Canada.
and at Canada.
I can't remember what happened at Canada, but
Nothing.
Nothing. He just
He just brought it home in third.
he just did his business and came third.
Yeah. But he hasn't really been in a... Other than Monaco, he hasn't been in a serious battle. Because he was a bit, wounded from Monaco, and he was just a bit cautious in the race there.
And Ricardo didn't really charge of this race mostly because of something happened to Ricardo's front wing during the race.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think part of it, was he either hit by debris or...
No,
It was
it's
fake, wasn't it?
it was two upper elements just fell off at some point.
I
Just
thought it was
fell
because he hit Debris.
No, it wasn't
No.
debris. It wasn't anything. It was exact. First, it was on the left part of the front wing, which fell off. That happened just before his first pit stop. Then all of a sudden, his the same two elements on the right side of the front wing fell off. In a very peculiar way, because it doesn't look like it's been ripped off by anything, like hit anything. It was just fallen off, in a way, almost like a manufacturing fault in the parts.
And it's interesting because in testing they did have barge boards which kept on falling off.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
Well, I wonder if they started using Haas CNC machines.
That's where Haas got the idea from. They weren't copying Ferrari. They were
obviously that failure led to Raikkonen overtaking Ricardo and getting P3.
Yeah, Ricardo struggled with a lot of understeer towards the end of the race.
Raikkonen had a great race.
He did.
And it was perfect timing when you've got these rumours which are very likely, it seems. Like the feeling in the paddock is that Ferrari have made up their mind effectively.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't care how many good races Kimi Raikkonen has. we need fucking Leclerc. Sorry.
And I think if Vettel hadn't been in the wars and wasn't so slow on the old tyres, like Raikkonen wouldn't have been anywhere near third.
Yeah.
Oh no.
No.
Raikkonen was being the number one car effectively today. Yesterday, rather.
Yeah. But I guess on an overall view of the race, I think we got more overtaken than we all expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a surprise?
We all came into this thinking, oh, it's just a test track. There won't be much overtaking. The braking zones that aren't big enough, but they seem to be able to find a lot of places to overtake.
I wouldn't say they had a lot of places. It was
No,
more-
there was only 2 places.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
The end of the chicane of the Mistral Straight, the chicane the north, and yeah, that's really it. I feel
I
like.
mean, I think if people had actually tried to defend, then we would have had a bit better racing.
I think I just think the speed of the car with the gears was too high.
Oh yeah, and I'm
I-
not. Yeah, yeah.
I looked at some of I had access to F1's live telemetry, like telemetry from the car, a bit of like basic telemetry, and like when cars had DRS down the Mistral, they were like 20 to 30 kilometers an hour quicker than the car in front.
And that's what it's going to be like at every race next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the new wings. It's good, I think.
It's sort of the lesser of two evils, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not only going to be able to get a lot of overtaking anywhere else
No.
with these wide cars, which
Well, the chicane is also there is talk about the chicane maybe being removed for next year.
you
Could we like pick like a tighter chicane?
Or you probably can.
You've got about 4 you can probably choose from through that section. so
I think
pretty
if
far
you really want to, you have like 20 different combinations of chicane, whatever you want to have. So would you like a medium chicane? Do you want a really sharp chicane?
Because let's say
you
you move the DRS further down the straight and then have a tighter braking zone. Cars coming into it slower. Tighter
Right.
braking zone
No,
would be
no.
better.
I would love to see like a bus stop chicane in F1 again. Like, in the Montreal E track.
No.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see the drivers like just go through such a tight corner. Because it wouldn't create overtaking. It would hinder overtaking, but it would just
But
be
it could
cool
bring
to see
cars
it.
closer. In a bit.
yeah. And it'd be like, if you've got brake issues at such a thing now, if you make a mistake,
Go
so
on.
then if you make a mistake there, you're just completely done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I think you can't have the. I think the DRS is you can't have the DRS after the chicane if it is. So because
No.
thickness will be too fast then.
Yeah.
That's the kind of problem. Like if there's DRL fall, that's one hell of a crash you're gonna have because that car is almost full throttle.
I mean, Stroll nearly found out how much of
Yeah.
an incident you could have had through that
But
corner. with
try
Porsche.
and think about going 300 kilometers an hour into a corner and you have basically no rear downforce.
Yeah.
So I think no matter what, you're gonna have an early. I think they're gonna maybe change the chicane for next year, maybe, and then but they're still gonna keep the DRS zone before the chicane.
I mean, the track as well. It had awful traffic.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was
traffic
a,
situation. They had to open a dedicated lane going to the circuit, and still then it was.
Can we also just point out Chase Carey's response to this
Oh, dickhead.
when asked about this? Oh, it's great that we have so many, so popular. We'll have even more over the rest of the weekend. That's not solving the problem, Chase.
That's
just
kind
makes
of
it
just
worse.
making the problem worse.
I just don't think he wants the track on the calendar. It's kind of just like a. You get from that he's just like trying to make excuses for it.
Like I know there only been one Grand Prix before. Should we go back to Le Mans Formula One?
No, because the facilities are too bad.
Not Le Mans.
No, the facilities aren't. I mean, like I don't. I heard it that the facilities wouldn't be able to like pass checks for Formula One.
I think it's most because the Bugatti circuit is the characteristic of the Bugatti circuit more than anything else.
Yeah.
Like the facilities are due to especially the 24 race. The facilities are quite good at the track. But I think it's just the actual circuit itself that's the problem. But
I think we should just go to Manicourt. Sorry.
well,
Those cars would be impressive around that track.
yeah. The only problem for Magny Court is the fact that there were basically nobody, apparently.
Yeah, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and that's like the only problem Magny Court has. Other than I didn't think Magny Court wouldn't even been dropped off the calendar by 2008.
Mm.
I don't want Paul Ricard on the calendar.
Well, I love Paul Ricard. It's one of my favourite tracks to
But it's
drive.
like- I mean, right? If I can't know the presentation, the direction of like the cameras of the track was awful.
Yes.
You can
Agreed.
definitely you can feel that it wasn't designed to be a racetrack.
This was the first like race in a long time I can remember not being excited for. I didn't care. Maybe it was because the World Cup was on. Maybe, but I mean, I wasn't excited by it. Even during like quali in the race, I just kind of had it on, and nothing like they were like battles, and I just couldn't get invested in them because you just knew that either they were going to overtake or they were going to overtake with the RS.
Genuinely, I think that a lot of that is that football has been really good this week. Like, it's been amazing. It's making most...
F1 over the last couple of weeks, not so great.
Like, it's been making any other sport seem rather boring.
It's coming home.
Well, it's typical when you have the World Cup. It's just something is on. The World Cup is on.
But the World Cup has been so good, and I think that's genuinely made Formula 1 look slightly less good.
It's been absolutely amazing. Just while we've been recording this, Portugal played drew with Iran, and I believe that
Spain drew with Morocco.
Yeah, Spain drew with Morocco too. Absolute bang as a match. Iran with like a late equalizer on a penalty. But you know, the entire focus is around football right now, and even in the paddock as well, it was all about the World Cup really.
But it's weird because I'm excited for Austria and Britain. I couldn't get excited by France.
I was like, let's see what happens next year with France.
Yeah.
I don't want it on the calendar. I don't want. It's just not a track. It doesn't look like a racetrack. There's just too much there.
Yeah, just you can see all the different combinations of corners.
Yas Marina has a lot of combinations and has a lot of runoff, but it looks like a racetrack.
Oh well, I think the problem for Paul Ricard is the fact that it was built to be a test track, not a
Yeah.
race track.
Yeah.
And
Well, it was
versus a place like Gas Marine, which was built to be a racetrack.
Which can also be used as a test track.
That too.
Polycard was initially a racetrack, and then it got
It fell apart, and then Paul Ricard decided to buy and rebuild it.
yeah, and it's like the best test track in the world or something. And it's just
It's definitely one of the highest quality test tracks. Mostly because of all the things you can do, because they actually sprinkler system, which can be used to make the track wet if you want to, if you need
If
to.
only we turn that on this weekend.
yeah.
Because nice 60% chance of rain.
What was
Again.
it? Spain 80%. This one's 60.
Oh well, yeah, but anything less than 100% chance of rain in Formula 1 means it won't rain.
Well, no,
I'll
it means it
guarantee
rain
you-
after
I
the
guarantee
race.
you-
But
I
then,
guarantee you, we'll go to Austria, it'll be 100% chance of rain.
but then Singapore last season was like 20% chance of rain, and it rained. It's
True.
just you can't.
Well, I mean, honestly, this is what happens when you do European Grand Prix in the middle of summer. It's not going to rain.
Yeah, well, it's Silverstone, though.
It won't.
Because it's Britain.
It
No,
won't rain at Silverstone because this country.
Mate, it's British
Doesn't-
summertime, it always
Yeah,
rains.
but,
in
British
summertime.
summertime is a myth. It doesn't rain in the summer anymore.
Yeah, nice global warming.
Well, yeah.
Well, I just say like this, like we had, like the last 2 months we had like 5 days of rain,
Exactly.
which is
We've had that.
extreme for Denmark, like absolutely extreme.
We've had
you-
like no rain this year.
Uh-huh.
We've had very little rain this year, which is just stupid.
Next time on Global Warming podcast.
Next time on the
Moving-
Geography podcast.
Moving
Moving
on.
on swiftly.
I think we'll move
to
on to our race
race
rating.
racing.
Yes.
Actually, there was a thing in F2 with Arjumani, which was very
Yes.
his little outburst on the radio.
Well,
Somebody needs to give him a hug,
seriously.
and then somebody needs to. Well, genuinely, Formula 2, they need to sort it out
Well, there's
quickly.
kind of like a massive controversy with it because even Felix Rosenqvist tweeted about it, and I'll just get the tweet up now.
I mean,
it-
Formula
he's-
2 is in shambles right now.
Yeah,
The problem is that it's basically a lottery if your car's gonna work or not. Like, let's see who's gonna draw the stall today. Is it gonna be you? Is it gonna be you? Wait, no, let it be this guy.
And it is literally ruining careers.
I
It
thought
is.
I'd just read Rosenqvist's tweet. He said, "What's going on in F2 is unacceptable. Young guys who put their family's livelihood on the line to race with a car that's supposed to be a developed one-spec product. They shouldn't have to act like test drivers and find problems every time they jump in unless they get paid."
I think also like the top reply is DTM driver Nico Mullers just saying spot on, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it is just stupid because Arjumani comes all the way from India. You know, he's in a completely different country. He's basically got nothing but racing, and then is just finding problems every time he gets into the car.
And that's just not how it should be. Like there is a reason why the F2 is one spec car, and it hopefully like it should be a actually developed one spec car that actually functions when you enter the car instead of now what fault am I gonna get today? It's gonna be electrical, something with the motor, engine, something
You
with the
can see-
car. It's
You
just
can see why they've gone with this new car because they want it to make it more relevant to F1. So then people are more used to F1 using like the different engine modes and everything.
yeah.
But it's just like they don't have the teams don't have the people and the resources to keep on managing it,
No.
Yeah.
and you're just always going to get these issues because you think about the amount of sim testing that F1 teams do just for like the engine.
Yeah, and these
it's
guys has
ridiculous.
nothing. These guys has nothing. They can
Yeah,
test on
they-
simulators.
They have like they might have one simulator if they're like good, but then you get
Like
teams
if they're like top in like Prima or something, or
Yeah.
something like that.
and
but
then
what-
you've got teams like Trident and Arden who
Yeah.
just don't have the funding.
No.
But these young drivers, don't come in. They come into the sport to race. They don't come in to try and get the McLaren Honda experience.
You know, it's like now it is like F2 it should not be let's find the next reliability problem, but more like let's push because F2 has always been really really good racing. Let's be honest here. Like F2
Yeah.
usually brings loads of action, but the fact that you always see at least one or two guys stalling on the grid is just unacceptable.
Yeah.
It can't be. They need to be able to rely on the car as soon as they get in.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I think maybe they should have just stuck with the old car.
For just one more year, really.
Yeah.
I feel like the this year of the car is a bit rushed because of the halo.
And they didn't give them a lot of testing either. They gave them
Not
like
that either.
2 or 3 weeks testing, which is just not enough.
It like they should have waited until that car was ready. Like that car
Yeah.
should have waited at least a year.
They should have given them a year of testing.
Yeah.
Like, just give the teams lots of funding to go testing.
And
Give
like,
them money
and,
to hire test drivers.
and find these problems before
Yeah.
they became as relevant to the actual series as they are now.
I mean, what I think they should do, I think they should get F1 teams to sponsor F2 teams and GP3 teams.
Well, like
I think
the fun thing is that most drivers in like F2 is already
Yeah, but I mean, they
team
just sponsor the drivers.
yeah.
Really. I mean, like, when they figure out all like the budget splitting and everything, you give teams like a set amount of percentage from that to put into junior formula and junior drive, because then you're gonna get, then they can share their resources with other teams. Maybe that's gonna lead to teams, having extra testing effectively.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing, is it?
No.
It's gonna let them. It's gonna give young drivers more experience. It's gonna, I think it's a decent idea.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Well, F2 is the only series that had stalling problems this weekend. F3 is currently in the Norris ring, and there was a massive crash between I think it was an Indian driver, like a bit ironically, and Red Bull Junior Dan Ticktum, which was huge
Dan
crash.
ticked him in another crash.
Yeah, well, this time it was actually because Ticktum's car stalled and this Indian guy just ran up the rear of him, obliterating the rear.
What have you been watching, Simon?
And wow, nice reference.
That escalated very quickly. Unlike Tipton's car.
Actually, this Indian driver is now being questioned by the FIA about if he's actually is a free standard.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's where we'll move on to our race ratings for the French GP. And Simon, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll say 7 out of 10. Like, a lot of it is down to both seeing Vettel and Bottas trying to charge back through the field. But there were also midfield overtakes. There were few, but they were there. Like in general, like just especially towards the end, seeing like trying to follow Bottas, catching up to Magnussen, especially as a saying like, please no. It's like the last I say 5 laps was hard, was nervous for me. So
Yeah. Jeebus, what about you?
I'll say 6 or 7. I've watched the highlights and it's like a better race than I remember. But at the time, I couldn't really get excited about it.
Yeah, fair enough. And Lambrix, what about you?
6 out of 10. That's the bare minimum I expect from a Formula 1 race. Like, just, good, some overtaking, some interesting strategy. Just sort of, that was alright. Like, that is what F1 should be on a bad weekend. And I think it's quite worrying that with, people are lauding that as, a good race, because it wasn't a good race, it was an alright race. But, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that race, and, that's good.
We didn't even talk about strategy. There was no strategy.
Okay, yeah, that's bollocks. I was trying to be a bit too nice. 5 out of 10.
What do you
Oh,
think?
no.
It's F1, like the tires doesn't decay.
No, well, yeah, this year, unfortunately, and honestly, for me, the most exciting part of Formula One is strategy. And when you have one-stop races, there is no strategy. So,
No.
Yeah.
Formula One was better when you had 4 or 5 stops. I'm sorry, I don't care.
Well, I'm not. I'll say 2 and 3, not 4 and 5.
Yeah, 3 or 4 for me is the sweet spot. Because I love having cars on different tires and you know, cars pitting, having like, I love having like 4 pit windows a race, and having like Hamilton on softs and then Button closing him down on super softs at the end. That's exciting. You need tension. All the drivers just running around on the same tires. There's no difference.
I think the current problem is the fact that because the tires are so big as they are, it gives problems actually trying to find the right compound to actually make the tires with. Like, it's so hard to get them to be soft enough that they don't last forever, but not soft enough that they just melt away.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'd have to agree. I think about a 6 out of 10. Pretty good. I enjoyed that race quite good. And it's the start of, that was the first part of the triple header we have as we head to Austria before heading the week after to Silverstone. And as we head to Austria, we have a third or second DRS zone added.
Third.
Third, yeah.
Between
It was on between turns 1 and 3.
Yeah.
quote unquote turn 3.
Yeah, turn 2 isn't really a turn. It's just a kick, but-
Officially turn 3, but by many regards just turn 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which basically means, like nearly half the lap is going to be under DRS.
Yeah. I still don't think.
Could be interesting.
I still don't think we're gonna see sub 1 minute times.
No.
No, I don't think we're going to gain too much.
Yeah.
We might get
Because
1 minute.
there's not that many.
Oh yeah, 1 minute one,
the
1
new
minute
arrows
2.
to gain.
But yeah.
But yeah, I think we'll move on to our predictions for Austria. Merck have won there for the past 3-4 years since 2014, so might be good for them again. But Simon, what do you think?
Well, continuing now back to normal threaded tires again. Just fueling the conspiracy here. I think it's gonna be Vettel simply because Ferrari is looking strong, especially in engine power, and Austria is a power track. And with Austria having really soft tires, like ultra soft, super soft, I believe, and it's back to normal thread, which Mercedes has been struggling with. I think Ferrari's in the hot seat this weekend. This upcoming weekend.
One day we're going to get you not having a Vettel prediction. One day. Jeeves, what about you?
I'm going to agree with the Vettel.
Fair enough.
I think the engine's on par, and you know the downforce is slightly better. It's going to be very close.
Yeah.
But I think Vettel's going to be able to just edge it out.
Yeah.
Probably over Bottas, to be fair.
Lamprex, what about you?
I think Paul Ricard was a big turning point in the season. I think Hamilton. I can't look past him or the car. The car looked imperious in Paul Ricard, and it wasn't close in qualifying. In Paul Ricard, you know, the engine is there, but actually, I think Karen Chendock said there was big improvements in the mid to high speed corners for Mercedes, which is Austria down to a T. So
I'll say it's Austria sector 2 down to a T.
well, yeah, but sector 2 is where all the time is.
Yeah.
Like you gain no time in the slow corners. So for me, I think Mercedes will win it. Perhaps not Hamilton. It might be Hamilton Bottas or something. But I think Mercedes might just turn the screw in this triple header.
Yeah.
Well, Mercedes are going somewhat cautious into Austria, I think, after Perez having to retire with an engine failure or some kind of engine problem at least.
It was a water leak that was going to damage.
Yeah, if I'm honest, I doubt the fact that it was about Mercedes. If I'm honest with you,
No,
I didn't hear detail. That's just why.
No, it was a water leak, and if they hadn't retired him, basically it would have damaged the engine. So
yeah,
it was more precaution. I think if Perez is like in a podium position or something, they wouldn't have retired him.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it's like 13th.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for. I think I'm gonna go for Bottas. Bottas. I think finally he's gonna get some luck this season. He's been really unlucky this year, and he wasn't too bad around Austria last year either. So maybe
Jump
he can
start.
repeat it. Let's not get into that. That was last year.
Jump the start though.
Oh dear.
And I think with that,
Yeah, I
let's
think
wrap
with
it
that
up.
we'll wrap up the podcast. Thank you all for listening. Like and subscribe to the channel to keep up with us. Follow us on Twitter at the F1 Agenda, and also check out our new blog, the F1agenda.wordpress.com. The links will all be on screen in the description below. So go check that out. There's a lot of different blog areas, like not just F1. We've also got WEC, Formula E, MotoGP, even BTCC.
Esports.
As well as esports as well. Lambrex's special area.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, I think that's where we'll wrap it up. Say goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Football's coming home.
Hashtag it's coming home.